Hi, I'm Dr. Andy Miller from Wesley Biblical Seminary. I'm so glad that you've come along for this sixth session in our series this summer on the book of Jude. Now, Jude likes to put groupings of three in his argument. So we talked earlier about how he is calling them to contend for the faith, and he used the example of the Israelites and the angels in Genesis 6, and then Sodom and Gomorrah. And here, in verse 11, he does something similar, a group of three. He says, woe to them. And in the first part of this series, I said how Jude is most likely, most scholars assume, is the half-brother of Jesus. He sounds a little like his big brother here. Woe to them. Woe to them. They have taken the way of Cain. They have rushed for profit into Balaam's error. They have been destroyed in Korah's rebellion. Now, these seem like three kind of obscure characters to bring into this argument. Now, particularly the first one was a challenge to me until I began to understand the rabbinical tradition about Cain. See, Cain, of course, I just know him as the one who killed his brother. We know this from Genesis. But Cain is also thought in the rabbinical tradition to be the first atheist, so to speak, or the first one to deny God's existence. And he's also thought to be one who led others away. So let's just keep that in mind. Cain was one who led people away from God's revelation. Then secondly, we see here also Balaam's error. They rushed into Balaam's error. Now, we know Balaam is the one who talked to a donkey, but the entirety of Scripture's witness helps us see that Balaam also led the Israelites into sexual immorality. He did that after he tried to curse God's people. And what happened? He couldn't curse them. His curse became a blessing. Now, why is that important? It seems that this charge of antinomianism, which is the understanding that God's grace is just a license to sin, might have been the type of idea that Balaam used. He might have said to the people of Israel, you know, God's got your back. There's nothing you can do to step out of his love. You're going to be fine. You can go and sin. You have sexually immoral sins with the people in this town. And as a result of that, they did. And they faced God's judgment because of it. It could be that Balaam is one who led them away. And then finally, Korah is somebody we know from Scripture as well, who led away the people of Israel against Moses' leadership. So all three of these people were people who led others away. And so Jude is saying, don't be led away by this false gospel. Don't be led away to think that God's grace is just a license to sin. Instead, contend for the faith. Don't coast. Don't coast in your faith. Instead, contend for the faith once for all delivered to the saints. And so Jude furthers his argument by using these examples here. And I hope we'll take his advice as we seek to be contenders.